A Wednesday night in Atlanta. The streets are empty, the late shift quiet. Around 1 a.m., Officer Jim Green asks dispatch to clear him for a signal 27, police slang for a cop's meal break. Green pulls his vehicle into the parking lot of a closed service station, pulls out a ham biscuit, and begins to eat, entirely unaware he is being targeted for execution. Charlotte Moore is ending her shift at the local Krispy Kreme. Her husband is waiting to drive her home. The couple cruise down Boulevard Avenue and ease to a stop at the corner of Memorial. Across the street, they see an Atlanta police van parked at a gas station and 3 men who appear to be robbing the police officer inside. Moore and her husband drive around the corner, hoping to avoid being seen. Charlotte and her husband hurry home and get on the phone to police. A cruiser is dispatched to the scene and finds Jim Green slumped over his steering wheel, dead from 3 bullet wounds. Green's gun, holster, and badge are missing. The bullets recovered from the left side of Green's body are .38 caliber, with 8 distinct grooves, cut by the barrel of the gun as the weapon was fired. Another .38 caliber slug is pulled from Green's right shoulder. This one is marked with 6 grooves, indicating that bullets were fired at Green from 2 different guns. There is no evidence suggesting Green ever fired his weapon, or even got a chance to draw it from his holster. Fight's information is passed on to Sergeant Lewis Graham, part of a team determined to find out who pulled the trigger on one of their own.
Something or somebody has moved in on us, and that is the road that I took. I began to look at other crimes, and I came up on this bank robbery.
The bank robbery occurred in Atlanta, a month before the Green shooting. Sergeant Graham learns that 5 possible suspects in the case had been nabbed on weapons charges in nearby DeKalb County. The 5, John Leo Thomas, Samuel Cooper, Joanne Chesimar, Twyman Myers, and Freddie Hilton, are members of the Black Liberation Army, or BLA. A splinter group of the Black Panther Party, the BLA funds its activities through robbing banks and often requires its members to earn their stripes by killing a cop. 4 of the 5 suspects in the Atlanta bank heist are wanted in connection with a separate cop shooting in New York. That's enough for Graham, who decides he needs to talk to them about the Green murder. Before he can do that, however, a problem develops. The BLA members break out of jail. 2 days later, Graham and a SWAT team storm the BLA safe house in southeast Atlanta, where they find weapons, explosives, and plans for more bank robberies. What the cops don't find is any trace of the Black Liberation Army. In September of 1972, Lewis Graham gets his first break in the case. One of the BLA members who escaped from jail in DeKalb County is nabbed in Florida. His name is Samuel Cooper. Graham hops a flight to Florida for a sit-down with the 20-year-old. Cooper admits to taking part in the Atlanta bank robbery. Then detectives press him on the murder of Officer Green. Within 30 minutes, Cooper rolls over on his comrades, BLA members Twyman Myers and Freddie Hilton. Cooper says that Myers and Hilton killed Officer Green and presented the officer's badge and gun as proof of their deed to the group's leader, 39-year-old John Leo Thomas. When the interview with Cooper is over, Graham believes his case is made. Graham flies back to Atlanta and takes his case straight to the district attorney. The DA, however, declines to prosecute.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was hurt. But then I was a police officer, so I moved on.
5 months later, Twyman Myers is killed in a shootout with New York State Police. Freddie Hilton goes underground, and the James Green case goes cold. It stays that way for more than 3 decades, until a 12-year-old girl is molested in New York City and names Freddie Hilton as her attacker. On a winter day in 2001, a woman and her daughter enter the 69th precinct in Brooklyn, New York, looking to talk to a cop. The woman claims her live-in boyfriend, Kamal Siddiqui, has been molesting her daughter. Detective Chris Karolkowski takes the case. A week later, Karolkowski arrests Siddiqui. At the suspect's home, police discover a loaded handgun and charge Siddiqui with criminal possession of a weapon. Once back at the precinct, the suspect decides to start talking about who he really is.
He told me that his real name was Freddie Hilton, and I asked him why he was using Kamal Siddiqui. He told me that when he got out of prison, he wanted to start over and leave Freddie Hilton in the past, so he changed his name.
A check on the name Freddie Hilton unearths a new piece of information concerning Hilton's possible involvement in the shooting of Atlanta police officer Jim Green. Karolkowski follows up with a phone call to Atlanta cold case detective Jim Rose.
He had advised me that he arrested Freddie Hilton on some charges, and that there was some reference that he was possibly implicated or a suspect in the murder of Officer Green.
Rose pulls the Green case from storage and inventories his physical evidence from 1971. There are but 3 single .38 caliber bullets, 1 taken from the victim's body, 2 found in his vehicle. Rose hopes to track down the gun they belong to, using the Black Liberation Army and their history of crime as his guide.
I had to look at some of the crimes that were committed by Black Liberation Army where they may have traded the gun, that if they did use a gun, sometimes it surfaced on another crime which was committed against a police officer. So I started to do that, and I found that it was a very hard task because the evidence was, in most cases or all cases, destroyed.
With no chance of finding the murder weapon itself, Rose turns to a roster of potential witnesses.
My goals were to meet and find ex-Black Liberation Army members and interview them to see if they could recall and back up some of the story that I had about Freddie Hilton and Twyman Myers coming back into the safe house and bragging about the murder of Officer Jimmy Green.
We had to question them about their knowledge of what happened, whether they wanted to participate or tell us to go to hell or whatever.
MC Cox is assigned to assist Rose in the investigation. The 2 detectives commandeer an Atlanta PD helicopter and begin traveling the East Coast, reaching out to former members of the BLA, hoping to stir a memory, or perhaps yet someone's conscience. Yvonne White is an assistant pastor with the Buffalo Church. 30 years ago, he was an entirely different person. In the early 70s, White was deeply involved with the Black Liberation Army.
We spoke for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I asked him if he could come with me so that I could audio tape and videotape an interview with him.
I knew that I should say something. I mean, because that was like the last piece of a puzzle that had been holding me back.
White's statement corroborates a 1972 statement by former BLA member Sam Cooper. Both men name Freddie Hilton and Twyman Myers as the members who killed Green. Both claim the shooters returned from the killing with proof of their crime.
After he shot him, I think he took his gun and his badge from him.
Taken together, the BLA statements are consistent and detailed enough to support a charge of murder, and an arrest warrant is issued for Freddie Hilton. On June 18, 2002, Hilton is extradited from New York to Georgia to face a murder charge. Central to the case is the testimony of Hilton's own compatriots in the Black Liberation Army. One after another, each of the BLA members take the stand and tell their version of Jim Green's death. Despite their checkered past, the stories are compelling and convincing.
They were patrolling the streets of Atlanta looking for a police officer to kill.
In the end, the jury believes the testimony of the 3 men. They find Freddie Hilton guilty of murder in the first degree. He is sentenced to life plus 18 years.
It was very emotional. I think it was justice served, but long overdue. And there was a lot of relief.